In the ever-changing world of music, few genres have seen a transformation as exciting as hip-hop. It used to be all about artists like 50 Cent, NWA, Jay-Z, DMX, Wu-Tang Clan, and Eminem. But it's now become something entirely unexpected. It's gone from the tough streets of rap battles to the heart-pounding beats of punk-inspired tracks. In the musical time machine, let's set the dial to 2013. Picture this, bands like Fall Out Boy and Blink-182, once relegated to the dusty corners of our nostalgia, suddenly making a roaring comeback. But it wasn't just their music, it was their style, their attitude seeping back into the cultural bloodstream. The ripped jeans and skinny pants that were all the rage in your middle school years, well, they were back in fashion, and it wasn't just a coincidence. Groups like A$AP Mob and Odd Future played a part in it as well. As the trend gained momentum, something interesting happened. Hip-hop, a genre once known for a completely different sound, began to take on punk influences. Punk and hip-hop have always been kinda distant relatives in a sense. They both originated as forms of pushback against the mainstream. Back in the early 2010s, artists like Young Lean created dreamy beats and blended them smoothly with rap, giving birth to what we now call sad boy rap. But the change didn't stop there. A new wave of punk-inspired rappers came onto the scene, with artists like Black Punk delivering high-energy tracks. This period, often called the SoundCloud era of hip-hop, also saw the rise of artists like Lil Peep and XXXTentacion between 2015 and 2016. Their emotionally charged, emo-infused style struck a chord with a generation and pushed the boundaries of the genre. Then, Juice WRLD stepped into the spotlight, perfecting the sad boy rap style and bringing it to the mainstream. Juice was also wildly talented as a lyricist and songwriter. I mean, have you ever heard the man freestyle? Juice was a master of pen and merged his hip-hop background and lyricism with his pop-punk inspirations. His skill and creativity led to his rapid rise and showcased a refined version of what had been happening over the past 5 years. Sadly, we also lost XXXTentacion and Lil Peep during this time, drawing mainstream attention to this underground scene and its struggles. But the transformation didn't end with these rising stars. Even artists like Machine Gun Kelly, known for his rapping roots, began to experiment with punk-inspired sound. This culminated in tracks like Bloody Valentine, a punk-infused anthem that highlighted MGK's evolution. In this video, we'll explore the fascinating relationship between hip-hop and punk, dive into the shared influences of sports, fashion, skateboarding, and BMX culture. We'll also address the sad realities of drugs and depression that have affected these artists. From A$AP Rocky to Travis Scott, we'll see how hip-hop embraced the punk spirit in various ways. Let's dive into the hip-hop scene and address a big issue that's been buzzing for a while now. If you peeked at the top music charts recently, you might have noticed something strange happening. Something that has never occurred in the entire history of music. Country artists like Oliver Anthony, Zach Bryan, Luke Combs, and Morgan Wallen have been enjoying their time in the limelight, snagging those coveted #1 hits. Meanwhile, hip-hop seems to be tripping over its own shoelaces. For over a year, not a single rap song has managed to conquer the Billboard Hot 100. Sure, some tracks by big names like Drake have come pretty close, but they haven't quite sealed the deal. It's a bit of a head scratcher when you really think about it, considering that there was a time when rappers were ruling the charts, leaving pop singers in their dust. But now it seems like hip-hop's reign is facing some challenges. Let's dig a little deeper into what might be happening here, shall we? When you take a quick look at this year's biggest hip-hop hits, you'll notice a prevailing trend, with a few exceptions sprinkled in. While I wouldn't necessarily label these songs as bad, they might come across as somewhat uneventful or lacking in originality. It's as though they settle into a familiar groove, playing it safe. Which comes to question, how do artists like Blueface and Christian Rock manage to stay so relevant? Most likely, it's not solely because of their recent music, right? Take Heat by Gunna for example. It's been all over the charts this summer, and it's catchy, no doubt. But how many muddy trap bangers have we heard that follow the exact same recipe? Need more proof? Look at Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion's latest hit, where they're talking about their bodies. It's blowing up right now, but we already got a taste of this in 2020 with WAP. Even Lil Durk's All My Life might be the most interesting mainstream song of the summer. But it's essentially the same formula, a big name street rapper collaborating with J. Cole. We saw this first in 2018 with 21 Savage's A Lot. Most hip-hop songs and music videos these days seem to follow the same set of viral tricks. It's like they're stuck in a creativity rut. Remember that last song that hit #1? It sampled Rick James's classic Super Freak in the most blatant way possible. And this song had already been used in hip-hop back in 1990 with MC Hammer's You Can't Touch This. It's a level of creative bankruptcy that's making many listeners lose interest in rap music. In 2022, we've observed 3 notable songs drawing inspiration from the classics by Fergie, Daft Punk, and Rick James. It's evident that hip-hop is seeking fresh inspiration. People are eagerly exploring novel sounds and styles because they're craving something different from the familiar. Mainstream hip-hop albums can sometimes seem extensive, touch on repetitive themes, and feature recycled beats, which can make it feel like an ongoing cycle of predictability. This landscape can be overwhelming when there doesn't appear to be a clear direction or purpose behind it all. Many big-name rappers seem more interested in boosting their streaming numbers than offering quality experiences. When every song feels like it's tailor-made for mega playlists and every album has the same A-list features, music loses its sparkle. It becomes a burden rather than a joy, and that's the impression many people have of hip-hop right now. The issue here is that many big-name rappers seem to be putting in minimal effort and using the same old formulas to create their projects. When you've got star-studded lineups and high-profile collaborations, you think it would be a monumental moment for hip-hop culture, right? Well, not really. Albums like Young Thug's Business is Business, packed with features from Drake, Juice WRLD, 21 Savage, Future, Nicki Minaj, Lil Uzi Vert, Travis Scott, and more, should have been a game changer. But it came and went without much fanfare. Now, why is that? Because just throwing together a bunch of big names on the album doesn't mean much to listeners anymore. Y'all, we've seen it all before. These same artists were working together on Future's last album, and the cycle repeats. The problem with this approach is that it's starting to backfire. More and more people are getting tired of hearing the same old material over and over again. Despite the creative decline in much of the hip-hop world, especially in the mainstream, there have been some superstar artists who are shaking things up. Names like Travis Scott, Lil Uzi Vert, Tyler the Creator, Lil Yachty, Playboi Carti, Kendrick Lamar, A$AP Rocky, and Drake are pushing the boundaries of what commercial hip-hop can sound like in the modern era. But even when these artists make waves, the creative revolution they're trying to spark is still being held back. Why, you ask? Well, it's because of the walls hip-hop has built around itself. When it comes to albums that are truly changing the game and setting new standards for hip-hop artistry, they're not always breaking through the heights they could. The industry seems resistant to this shift. But here's the bigger problem. It's not just about the lazy artistry. It's about how the most powerful voices in the genre are using their platforms. I'm not talking about the artists themselves, but the personalities and outlets that have the most influence in hip-hop culture. From interviews from Genius, from playlists like Rap Caviar to pages like Rap TV, hip-hop is being shaped and represented by its most prominent communicators, and it's not always for the better. These outlets are prioritizing sensationalism and clickbait over promoting the actual music and artistry. Instead of connecting listeners with new and less popular talent, they're fixated on the drama and controversy between artists or the latest selfies from rappers. The result? A hip-hop media landscape that's more focused on chasing drama and instant likes rather than showcasing the incredible music and art that's driving the genre. So why is all of this happening? Well, the bar for the mainstream has hit rock bottom, and big media outlets and record labels are exploiting the genre for all it's worth while putting in the least amount of effort. The result, a lack of captivating and refreshing offerings compared to other genres like Latin music, Afro beats, and country. But here's the silver lining. The decline of commercial hip-hop might actually be a positive thing in the long run. As hip-hop's revenue shares dwindles in the music business, labels are starting to invest less in new hip-hop ventures. Instead, they're chasing after other genres that are currently on the rise. This could pave the way for a new generation of real creators who deliver music that inspires and pushes boundaries. With all this being said, let's not forget about the unsung heroes of the rap game. Artists who should be as popular as the legends of the past but remain in the shadows. Denzel Curry, with his consistently stellar albums, keeps it real, yet he's often overlooked in the mainstream. Earl Sweatshirt, Rico Nasty, JPEG Mafia, Vince Staples, Kai, and Freddie Gibbs, for example, true masters of their craft, deserve more recognition. Let's also not forget underrated rap producers such as Kenny Beats and The Alchemist, who also deserve recognition for collaborating with mostly underrated rap artists of this generation, as previously mentioned. These artists represent the underground, staying true to their music and avoiding the pitfalls of controversy. Despite the challenges, there's hope that this shift will usher in a creative revolution where artists aren't afraid to take risks and experiment. This is what hip-hop needs to stay fresh and vibrant. So, what's your take on hip-hop's commercial decline? Is it a sign of the genre's impending doom, or could it be a blessing in disguise? I'm eager to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Please let us know what underground artists are going to lead the charge in this next stage of this musical journey. If you're tired of the subpar coverage that major hip-hop outlets provide and want to stay informed about the most important moments, artists, and albums within the rap world, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Your support means the world to me, and I appreciate you sticking around to the end. Thanks for watching.